All right, Cincinnati fans, welcome to week 2 of the Anchor Down Cincinnati podcast. Week 1 was extremely successful, and I want to give a special shout out and a thank you to everybody who supported and showed some love. I know that. I really want to give a special thanks to Matthew Hausler with Matthews Mazes for designing the logo. My fiance Alyssa Birchfield for helping me out with my website, and many, many more people. A lot of support and love on that first one. But we're going to keep the ball rolling here. Today I got a very special guest with me. I have John Phipps, and he is a friend of mine, but he also has many friends and connections around the Cincinnati area. And as a friend of many iconic Cincinnati players, we're going to be talking about the AFC North, Andy Dalton going to Dallas, why the NFL will play this year, and John's relationships with some of our favorite Cincinnati athletes. I got him on the phone here. What I'm going to let everybody know is that usually we are going to have people in person, but with the times that are given, we are going to just stick with phone interviews, having people over the phone. So if it's not the clearest possible way, but it's just what we're given right now. So eventually we will get to in-person interviews and guests. But on the other hand, I do have John Phipps with me right now. John, you there?
I am here. Let's get it.
Good deal.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Well, tell us about yourself and your love for the Bengals.
All right, that's cool. I'm John Phipps. I am a very Cincinnati person, born and raised. I grew up right between Cincinnati and Xavier in North Avondale. I mean, my aunt's the assistant city prosecutor. The head of SWAT owes me favors. I'm kind of like air. I'm like everywhere but nowhere. It's like that guy you know but you don't know. That's me. I just love Cincinnati, bro. I mean, we're in a great place. I love the Bengals. I am a UK basketball fan, so I know that might offend some of the listeners. But
we're going to get some heat about that. We are going to get some heat about that on the show.
Hey, listen, man. My family grew up in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. All I know is Kentucky basketball. I like Cincinnati. I like Xavier. I love some Bob Huggins. But, my Wildcats is where it's at. I like the Cyclones, SC Cincinnati. I mean, I'm Cincinnati through and through, except UK basketball. That's it.
Yeah, so you have all these teams that you love, but there's just something special about them Bengals, ain't there?
Hey, listen, man, it's like that bad relationship that you just keep going back to. You just want the best from it, but that person they need some work. We'll say it that way. But yeah, man, I love my Bengals. I've been through a lot of good times, mostly bad times, but I met some good friends. I've met some nice players. I have nothing but good things to say. And Mike Brown's finally spending some money, so I'll be a happy camper for at least this season, but we'll see how it goes.
Hey, and that's what it's about. I mean, 2020, I said it last week. I mean, it's a year where we completely turned everything around. Looks like we're firing on all cylinders, and especially with the time of being in the AFC North.
We have hope.
That's what I'm saying. And I know we were dealt some tough cards with our schedule. I know we got not the easiest of schedules, but with
we're cool, bro. Don't do that.
But with the cards that were dealt and the people that we picked up and the draft that we had, I mean, we could easily have a 10-6 season. Wouldn't you think?
We made easily. We made moves, and I think that's the reason for hope right now. Mm-hmm. But making moves makes me happy. Even if they're not the best moves, just trying an effort. Like my grandpa always said, don't have a dog that won't hunt. You gotta have somebody that's willing to open up. Y'all are paid. The Browns have money. Spend some of it.
They do. Hey,
groceries.
And finally, we're spending some money on some people like Von Bell and stuff. And I know you're a big defense guy. I know you love your offensive players, but John Phipps, I after talking with you time and time again, I mean, we talk defense big time. So let's line up your defense for the Bengals.
All right, that's cool. So, I was doing some research. The thing is, we line up in a lot of 3-4. Even though our 4-3 is the base, we do a lot of 3-4. We do a lot of 4-down nickel. So I love the pickup from Bynes, getting him from the Ravens. If you go back and watch our games versus the Ravens, if it was third down and they needed a big play, somehow this dude was making it. Like, even if he's not making the tackle, he's in the backfield. Somebody has to block him. Like, he's wreaking havoc, and we now have him. You go and get Von Bell, somebody that can, be in the box. He can hit. He can cover. He can get an interception. He can potentially change the game. That's huge. And they're talking about, lining 3 safeties up in the box. When you look at mobile quarterbacks, your Baker Mayfields, your Lamars, they move. So when you have some athletes that can cover and they can come up and tackle and really lay the wood on somebody, like I really like the way they're building it up. And DJ Reader, let me not forget him. Like a big boy to put next to Geno that also wreaks havoc.
Who's by Hubbard? So you got Hubbard. You got Hubbard. You got Geno. Now you got DJ Reader. I think you're gonna stick with Dunlap. But you can't forget about Carl Lawson. I mean,
we got to play him more. I like, UK, going to UK, being a UK fan. I'm huge on SEC. I watched him in college, like literally went down to Auburn to watch him play. He's not the biggest dude, but, I mean, he plays with a motor. He works hard.
It's like the definition of grit.
That's what you want. Like, you got to have some gritty football players. When you want to win those AFC North, when it gets cold, you want people that are, like, battle-tested, but he's fast. Like, he can get to the quarterback. You got to get my man on the field somehow. I don't care where you line him up. Put him out there and just let him hit people.
That's what I'm saying. And then, I like what you're saying about, maybe even lining 3 safeties up. Because last year, how many times did we get screwed because our middle linebacker wasn't fast enough to cover an extra receiver? So now,
they couldn't do it.
No. And so now what we got is somebody, you can go Von Bell. I got to learn more about, what our draft picks are doing. I really think
don't worry, I've got you. I watched a lot of film on these guys. I've been on YouTube watching highlights. We brought in some backers. I mean, like, the draft picks were good, but also when you look at, like, the undrafted signings you made, there's some cats there that can play some football. And that's what you need. You need football players. Like, not everybody's going to be the sexiest, 40-time height and weight, but you need people that can just play the game.
That's what I'm saying. And also, Logan Wilson, I know I'm kind of iffy on him. I think he's fast. I think for a big boy, he's fast. I think he's going to be a smart player. They keep saying, hey, give him 3 years. You're looking at, a up-and-coming Luke Kuechly kind of a player.
I love it. And here's the thing with him. I like athletes. Like when you look at Sam Hubbard, GCL, stand up, we're out here. But when you look at Sam Hubbard, that was somebody that was, a safety in high school, but he kept getting bigger. Like, he's a football player. It's the same with Logan Wilson. Like, he was a wide receiver in high school, catching touchdowns. So he can play the game. He knows what offenses want to do. He's going to be what Vigil was supposed to be. Yep. No offense to Vigil. Like, I like Vigil. Mm-hmm. He could get there, but he wasn't making the plays. He might know where you're going. He might point it out. But once he gets there, what's he really doing? And I think that's going to be the difference. Logan Wilson is going to be there, but he'll be able to actually make the play.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny story about Sam Hubbard. So I played high school lacrosse, right? Okay. And Sam Hubbard he played for Moeller all the way up till his senior year, and then Ohio State told him that he couldn't play lacrosse in his senior year because they didn't want to get him hurt or whatever the reason was, understandably so. But the first time we lined up against him, you got some 6'6" absolute beast out there lining up against just some normal high school freshmen, and you're just like, what? This dude is an absolute monster. And it's actually, dude, it's
men
fun.
Aren't created equal, man. Like, let's be honest. There's some men and there's some men. He is a man.
Dude, and playing on the same field as him, it's like, it is. It's a man amongst boys, and you're like, holy. I'm 15 years old at the time, and I'm looking up at a 6'6" freshman. I'm like, oh my god.
There's a difference. I sold his mom a phone. I know that's random, but I used to sell cell phones. I upgraded his mom a phone one day.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, wonderful woman. She had a picture, screensaver. I'm like, who's that? You're a Bengals fan? She's like, no, that's my son. I'm like, I'm sorry, your son's amazing, and then I just hug her.
That's awesome. As far as that's the connection you make with these Cincinnati players, though. I mean, I know you have tons of connections around town. I know you played basketball occasionally with Joe, with Mixon.
He's a bucket. 11 folks out there who's ever listening. When Joe Mixon talks about Madden and he talks about basketball, my man is not playing. He is like Steph Curry. If Steph Curry was a running back, he has handles, he can shoot. he didn't even do anything like supremely athletic because he's just playing with average guys. But awesome dude, great shooter. Like pulling up from half court, like he's a bucket.
And we need to give him the ball more on the football field.
Yo, here's the thing, and I don't know if you look. He ended up with over 1,100 yards last year, and I think the first 4 or 5 games, he's getting 7, 10 carries. One game he got like 15. And towards the end of the season, our offense. I mean, Andy was passing the ball clearly at the beginning, but at the end, you see us moving the ball better. He's running the ball better. Like I said, still ended up with 1,000 yards. Like that needs to stop right now. He should touch the ball 20, 25 times a game. Period. And then you work in your other players.
Yo, and did you see the stat? It was since 2018, he is the only NFL running back with 500 plus attempts and 0 fumbles.
I mean, and we don't line him up at receiver. He can catch. Like, I mean, when you have tools. Like, I'm not gonna say Joe Mixon is like transcendent and a once in a generation back, but like he's doing this with a kind of beat up O line, a kind of piece together O line, still getting 1,100 yards. You gotta get my man to ride. You gotta ride that horse. You gotta pay that horse, and you gotta let him, lead you to pay dirt.
You gotta pay that horse. That's exactly what we need to do. I mean, how many times has there been? And I think Zach Taylor found it out sooner rather than later, and that's when we started, actually looking like a football team last year. Was when we weren't giving him the ball 12 times. We were giving the ball like 24 times.
That's that number. I agree with you, man. And not to cut you off, but with Joe Burrow, you don't want your rookie quarterback coming in, airing it out 35, 40 times a game, and that's where Joe Mixon comes in. Hand him the ball and let Joe Burrow make the easy throws. Hit the flats, hit a play action D pass. You just got to use Mixon more. I mean, from the get-go.
I think it's going to happen, and the presence that Mixon's having, throughout the entire Cincinnati area, throughout the NFL even. I feel like he's making his presence known, and it's starting to get noticed. And the fact that he hasn't fumbled a ball since 2018, over 500 attempts, come on, man. That's when you know you got a franchise guy.
And that's in the AFC North. Those are cold, brutal games. They're lining 8 up in the box, and my man just produces. And, I mean, Zach Taylor, I'm not going to lie, when he first came, I thought we got a lemon. I'm like, why is this guy here? He's just a part of this coaching tree. Did we make the right decision?
Yep.
But I think he's kind of slick, Like, he came in, you let the season go to hell, but you compete. And now I think we're actually going to get to see a little bit more from Zach, and hopefully, a little bit more from Joe Mixon, too.
Absolutely, we will. And you're right. I think bringing up the AFC North, I think we're going to be going against, to be honest, some pretty strong defenses. Offensives,
for sure.
I don't know. But I don't think you can overlook the Ravens' defense. I think that defense is probably an A-. When you're looking at even the Steelers, I don't think the Steelers are shit. But I honestly, they do have one hell of a defense. I don't know defense. D-line. We'll start with that. And I know the Browns made some moves as well, but at the end of the day, the Cleveland Browns will always be the Cleveland Browns.
Period. There's a curse on that city. God don't like them. It shows. You just can't expect much from the Browns.
So how can you expect that? I mean, you have Baker. I don't know if I'm a believer in Baker, and I'm not trying to sound like Coward. Let's go get him.
So I'm not gonna say overrated. He's talented. He works hard. I get it. He is Johnny Manziel 2.0. If you want to know what the problem with the Browns is, outside of being cursed because they're in Cleveland, the problem is Baker Mayfield. He holds on to the ball too long. He wants the home run play. And if you look, I mean, honestly, he's really not that accurate. There's a lot of passes that could have been completions if he puts it on the receiver.
Yep.
So you're never going to have to worry about the Browns as long as they're in Cleveland and Baker is their quarterback.
No.
I can assure you.
And I'm not trying to sound like Colin Coward because I can't stand the man, but I don't think Baker's their guy. But when you got a running back, you got Chubb, you got Kareem Hunt, you got Landry, or not Landry, you got help me out, OBJ, and then also.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
See, I didn't know he was hurt last year with the core injury. He still ended up with 1,050 yards, something like that.
But they're still losing games. Like
they're meaningless yards. Those are just stat pattern. You're getting your paycheck incentive for getting your receiving yards, but that don't mean a damn thing. He just.
But I do love what they did to Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, hey, you can never be mad at that. We know what Mason said, and I don't advocate violence, but
Nope.
hey, sometimes you gotta slap people.
He needs it, man.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
He has a punchable face. God, I hate that man's face.
He does. He seems like the Chad or Brad at a party, like a frat party.
God.
Imagine that man in college. There's no, I mean. Dude.
He's probably, no offense, if there's any SAEs out there, I get it, you're rich, that's cool, no disrespect. He had to be the president of the SAEs. I'm talking about he's out front with the Lions. I mean, he just has that face that's, oh my God, I hate that kid. I'm sorry.
Dude, man, I miss the rivalries. We need to get back out there. I mean, I can't wait. I know we were talking the other day, and we're like, hey, once, what was it, December 21st, we play the Steelers, Monday Night Football, in the jungle. Let's go. We're going. We're going.
Oh my God. There will be no better Christmas present. I got a lot of friends that are Steelers fans. I don't know why they're my friends. I cannot wait to ruin their Christmas.
It's going to be amazing.
I'm not going to let them hear the end of it.
Absolutely. I can't wait for tailgates, dude. Like I said.
I can't wait for people. Coronavirus has slowed us down. I'm tired of this.
Dude, social interaction. I went to a bonfire last night and had social interaction. It was unbelievable. Talk about sports
forever. I
forever.
don't even like people. I hate people, but like I want to be around people. I want to talk to people and like be mean to them. But like a human interaction is okay with me right now. I need it.
Hey, and just wait. We're gonna be able to have like, I know you'll be a frequent caller in, or hopefully
sure.
it'll be in person. But wait till we start having these interviews in person. But
it's gonna be a good time.
Absolutely. But sooner or later, we are gonna be back down there with friends and family, tailgating, firing up the breakfast grill, having a couple of drinks, and going into the game. But folks, please never drink and drive. Do not drink and drive. If you ever do get caught in any trouble, please contact my friend DUI Matt, one of the best DUI attorneys in the business. And facing a DUI charge may be one of the most frightening times of your life. Loss of your license, your job, and even your freedom are things that you do not want to take lightly. Call DUI Matt of Ernst & Associates or visit www.igotadui.com for a free consultation where he can explain your rights and how he can help you. Another friend of mine down there has one of the best tailgates I've ever been to in Lot A, Phil Amrine. Phil is also a jeweler and has a store right off of Coleraine Avenue. So if you have any questions or want to be consulted in the right direction on what kind of diamond you are looking for or what kind of jewelry you're looking for, please visit Amrine Diamonds off of Coleraine Avenue. But dude, I can't wait to get down there and start having some beers and getting back into the atmosphere.
If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
That's right.
Big bourbon.
That's right. And I mean, speaking of the season, I'm gonna run through and tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna run through real quick our schedule here, and I'm just gonna dish them. I'll shoot it as it is. So we start off with the Chargers. Who's your quarterback? Who we got at the Chargers?
Listen, I mean, it's Tyrod Taylor, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's either him or Herbert. Either way, I'm not worried about them guys. That's a dub.
For the Browns, I just have LOL down.
I mean, is that in Cleveland?
I believe the first one is.
So Cleveland's a terrible place to be. So that might slow us down. It might be a close game.
Hey, rivalries are rivalries no matter what. So I get that.
They're lining Baker Mayfield up at quarterback. Let's get it.
Hey, but I get rivalries are rivalries no matter where you are. I mean, it could be the Chiefs versus the who's worse? The Raiders. And it's always a possibility. Yeah.
You're divisional rivals. There's bad blood.
There is.
Those games are close. I get it.
No.
Go.
Eagles. I think the Eagles got a squad.
They scare me.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. Their defense is getting old. Carson Wentz is injury prone. They're going to use Jalen Hurts in some weird ways and get him the ball. They got a nice little receiver through the draft, but I mean, who's Carson Wentz throwing to? He can't throw the ball to himself, so I just don't know if it's enough.
I don't even think Jeffries is there anymore, is he?
They still might be waiting to cut that man a check. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That game I'm a little uncertain on, but I mean,
Yeah,
I can't see
I feel that. I don't remember if that is away or home, but the next game we come back and we got Jags, and the Jags. It's one of those games where they're rebuilding. I have nothing against the Jaguars.
I do.
You do? Oh well, that's because that's because Ramsey and AJ Green beat the shit out of him that one time.
That is my avatar on Twitter, and it will be for the rest of my life because whatever Jalen Ramsey said to get his ass whooped, he deserved it. Dude. Because AJ Green is the nicest person in the world. Who
was it that said something and they were like, it was Leonard Fournette, and he was like, my favorite memory of being a Jaguar is when Jalen Ramsey got his ass beat.
I agree. And then I can't believe, Gardner Minshew is your quarterback, bro, and Cam Newton's still on the market.
Yeah,
you're tripping.
I don't know about Gardner. I go back and forth with him, too, because – but mullet game, A+.
Bro, and you got to respect that. It's a lot of times it's about the mullet, but I'm cool on it. They're not going to beat us.
No.
Once again, if he's lining up at quarterback,
no,
I just can't have that.
They won't. Next week we got Ravens. I think we can split with Ravens. I think their defense is strong. The big question about the Ravens is this going to be the year where Lamar Jackson gets figured out? And I don't think it is.
Here's the thing. Once again, I feel like if we're going with that three safeties look, where you have Sean Williams up in the box, I don't know how we let them get those good draft picks. They got J.K. Dobbins, they got a linebacker from LSU, they got the receiver from Tech. They had hella picks. Literally, 12 draft picks? But if you line those safeties up in the box where they can cover and they can tackle and they're fast enough, maybe not to run with Lamar, but to get up with him, it's the beginning of the season. I think it's a game we can steal from them. I don't know if that he's a problem.
Yeah, he's a problem on all aspects of the field, especially now that we know he can throw.
Right.
I don't like that, but we come back, and we got the Colts. Funny story. So I went to the opening day. What was it? 2 years ago when we had the opening at Lucas Oil against the Colts.
Okay.
And I was down there with a couple buddies, and we were. People were trying to talk shit to to us because we were Bengals fans there, the only people there, and I'm like, I have nothing bad to say about the Colts, because Andy Luck was the quarterback at the time. I'm like, how can I ever talk bad about Andrew Luck?
You can't.
No,
he's a good guy.
But
I feel bad for his career.
Hey,
Phillip Rivers, hold on. Phillip Rivers is not Andrew Luck, and I hate Phillip Rivers.
Dude.
Him and Paul Pierce are my least favorite athletes of all. He doesn't, and it's because he doesn't cuss. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but don't talk shit to me and not cuss. And he's got 7 kids. I hate the way he throws the football. I hate everything about Phillip Rivers. We beat the Colts simply because of my hate.
Dude, we'll beat the Colts. What is his throwing? What is his release? I think it's it's sideways.
Have you heard the story on why? So apparently his dad was a coach or some shit, and he wasn't big enough growing up to hold a football. So as a kid, that's how he learned how to throw, was he couldn't get his ball above his head. He couldn't do it because he was too young and small, and he just never got rid of that motion. And I hate his motion, and he doesn't cuss, and I hate him. Yeah,
he walks around with his own swag too, which is just like icing on the cake. And it's dude, you are not that good.
I like swag. I like bravado. You're a man. You should have moxie and poise and be confident in yourself. I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I hate him.
Yep. We come back again with the Browns. Just have LOL down again.
You should. LMAO that one.
Dude, the Brown again. Hey, I'll say it time and time again on this show. The Browns will always be the Browns. And if you are a Cleveland fan, please come on the show and we'll dish about it because I know you don't have an argument.
There's nothing to say.
No, there's nothing to say. You got the best team possibly out there in the AFC. You should have the best team on paper on the AFC North, and they can't put together 9 wins. But no, what did they go? Did they go 6-10 last year? Whatever.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. That don't matter. They're not.
We got a problem next week against the Titans with D-Hen.
Here's the thing. D-Hen is a bull. And I mean an absolute bull. But Tannehill, I feel like I hate quarterbacks. No. I do because I play defense. I cannot believe in Ryan Tannehill, and I never will, and I just can't.
He's a system quarterback in a team with a decent O-line. That's what
that's it. And, like, he was winning games throwing the ball 12 times a game and shit in the playoffs. Like, that's not quarterbacking. I think his skills and talent level gets exposed a little bit more this year because load the box. Just stop Derrick Henry and make Tannehill beat you. And I think if teams do that, you figure out the Titans.
That's what I got.
Stop Derrick Henry.
I got that same thing. I just said find a way to stop D-Hen.
That's it. If you can slow him down, slow him down.
Man, we don't play the Steelers till the middle of the season.
I love it. It just lets all that hate build.
So I actually got into a debate the other day with a Ravens fan about their rivalry against the Steelers versus ours. I feel like their rivalry is more. I mean, I feel like their fans don't like each other, but their players don't like each other. Cincinnati hates them, and when it is a blood battle. What was it the other year when they played on Monday Night Football again, or was it Sunday Night Football? And I think like 8 people got hurt in the first half.
I mean, it's a slugfest. I give them that. They play some hard-nosed football. I just don't like either one of them. No. And the hate is definitely more Pittsburgh because I think there's more Pittsburgh fans in the greater Cincinnati area than Baltimore Ravens fans. Mm-hmm. But I really don't like either one of them.
No, not at all. From there, we move to the Skins. Chalk it up as a dub. I think they're on their way to having more quarterbacks than the Browns have. Feel like I mean, every year there's a new one. Next, we got Dolphins. I think Tua will probably make it into like 3 games, and then with the O-line that they have, and then who knows what will happen to them.
Here's the thing: I think they shelf him for as much of the season as possible. But I think by that time we're actually facing Tua.
Yeah.
And with 3 safeties in the box, some blocking, he's very twitchy.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of pre-snap reads. So if you can move some people around, pop up here, and then drop into a zone, make it look like you're blitzing, I think you're confusing. We can beat the Dolphins.
Absolutely, we can. Absolutely, we can. And then next we come back with the Cowboys, who had finally a great draft. I'm not a Cowboys guy just because I see that. I feel like I watch more Cowboys games than Bengals games because they're just on primetime every single week.
Here's the thing. They're America's favorite team. Oh. America clearly isn't America anymore. We've changed. They are not anyone's favorite team.
No.
I hate them as well. No. I'm glad Andy landed there. I think that's a good position for him. I think he's better than Dak. That might be a conversation for another day.
Yep.
But the Cowboys are guaranteed 8-8 each year. They just continually underperform.
And you know what? Good for Andy. Like Andy's back home. He's back in his college. He's in his college state. And honest to God, I think. Yeah, man. And I think he actually will get some good playing time down there with a team that he would fit into better than the Bengals.
Here's the thing. I don't know if you remember when John Kitna went to Dallas.
Yep.
And then kind of was a spark for a season or two. I think Andy's cut from that same cloth. He did. I mean, I don't know how the people out there, the listeners, feel. I like Andy. I think he's a great person on and off the field.
Yeah.
He had some bad plays, and I get it. So that puts a bad taste. He's a solid quarterback. I still say he's better than Dak. And I think given a chance in that offense, he could really do well.
Exactly. And you know what? When you give Andy time, Andy is, I would say, an elite quarterback. Think about 2015 season. He was an absolute animal that entire season because our O-line was actually existing.
I mean, and that's the thing about quarterbacks. If you can give them some time, they can make the throws, or they wouldn't be a quarterback. So he can definitely make the throws. He just saw them ghosts when he was in the pocket, and he made a lot of bad plays when we didn't need it. But look at that throw when he threw the ball to Tyler Boyd to beat the Ravens and knock them out of the playoffs. Like, that's a dime.
Yep.
Like that, he put it in a small window, 2 linebackers, 2 safeties. I mean, set it right in the zone. You can't draw it up better than that. But he'll turn around and then throw a pick, and you know a pick's coming. Or let J.J. Watt intercept him at the line the years we were losing to the Texans. Like, just, there's a big mistake coming. Mm-hmm. It just sucks, man.
And I think Andy's biggest thing was probably pocket presence. And hopefully down there, I think, maybe I'll actually root for the Cowboys a few games just for Andy's sake if he's playing. But I think he'll actually get some pocket presence down there with the time he'll get. Again, like you said, fantastic guy. I know he's I heard he's trying to keep his place here in Cincinnati too. I think
for
he's
sure, man. He's got the foundation. Him and Jordan, I mean, he does a lot for the city. I love me some Andy. I'm glad to see him land in a good spot, but I hope he stays here. Like, if you see him, he speaks back, he takes pictures. Like, I really like him, man.
Yeah, he does. He does. We'll move on to the next game, which is Steelers again, and that's the game we'll be at. Again, sitting in Phil Amrine's tailgate, and we'll be drinking, getting ready for that game there. And I actually am feeling pretty good about that game. Hopefully, we can go to the game, dude. I'm hoping.
That would be awesome. I mean, that's the Christmas game, right?
That's right. 21st, I think.
I need that Christmas present.
That's right.
I need a big dub against them. There's Ben at quarterback. Once again, common theme here. Big Ben holds on to the ball too long. He's old. He has an ugly beard. He does questionable things off the field. I mean, we've got to beat them.
Okay, so here you go. You got Juju on one side. I don't think Juju is a number one receiver.
Hell no.
No. The reason he struggled last year is because he was so far. He was hiding in Antonio Brown's shadow, who was taking care of the CB1. Now he's wide receiver one, going against CB1, and now it's.
It's not the same, man.
No,
and
bro.
Then with the Asian Ben, James Conner, I love the story.
Love it.
Yep. I mean, to see what he's done and achieved is amazing, and that shows you what people are capable of. He's an average running back with a great story.
That's right.
I mean, he's no Le'Veon Bell. You can't really count on him. He'll get you 80 to 100 yards, but it might take 20 carries to get there. He doesn't really have the home run, big play in him. He's solid.
Yep.
We gotta be.
I think what they got is, and I hate saying it, but I think Tomlin, I think he has a good head on his shoulders when it comes to just football knowledge in general, because I think the guy can coach. I mean, last year I can't believe he didn't win Coach of the Year with the team and the situation he was put in.
And what they were able to achieve, he's solid, man.
He is, and I actually think he's a pretty good guy. But like we said, screw the Steelers. Who cares about them?
Yeah, get him out of here.
So here we go again with we got Texans who just traded DeAndre Hopkins away.
Bro, Bill O'Brien must be stopped. I mean, my man has traded away all his top talent, and now he has Deshaun Watson, a really, really, really good young quarterback, throwing the ball to himself and running for his life. If I was Deshaun Watson, me and Bill O'Brien might have to square up.
Dude.
What do you have against me to put me in this position? What did I do to you to make this happen?
Getting rid of Hop is like getting it's basically signing it's changing your whole entire team dynamic, because that dude's wide receiver presence and just having him out on the wing is unbelievable.
Double teams, he's taking your cornerback one. I mean, he's getting 100 catches a year, and you trade that away? Bro, and I went to school. I think the Texans picked up Randall. I went to school with Randall Cobb. I love him to death. He's a very close friend. Bro, getting rid of Deshaun Watson and picking him up, bro, stop it. Please stop it. Bill O'Brien has to be stopped.
Yeah, he needs it, dude. And I mean, they got David Johnson, but I mean, look at the trade. It was an absolute steal for the Cards.
It was a robbery. I'm talking about in the middle of the day, Broadway getting robbed.
And
I can't believe he did that.
You just put Kyler Murray in a spot where he's going to probably have a blow-up season because he's going to be throwing to Hop.
Yo, I am definitely drafting Kyler Murray when it comes to fantasy football. Because his little ass can just throw jump balls to DeAndre all day and then run when he can't do that.
Phipps, we need to have you on for a fantasy week once football rolls around again, because that's going to be a hell of a time there. And then we finish off with the Ravens in the schedule. But, dude, I'm telling you, it can definitely be a playoff team. And we need to win the big games. And which I think we can.
You have the 7 playoff teams?
What was that?
Is this the year where you have 7 teams that make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Division?
Yeah.
Bro, we have to get that spot. The AFC is kind of beat up. Tom Brady's left. The Steelers are old. The Ravens are a problem. The Chiefs are a problem. Outside of that, no AFC team really looks dominant. I mean, Derrick Henry maybe.
We have people are counting us out for the wild card, but the wild card is actually extremely doable. Like I said, dude, we could go 10-6. We could very well go 6-10. But I mean, it's going to come down to those big games. I think we have a young team that is. I think when you put young talent out there, I think they freaking perform. Especially when you got a guy like Joe Burrow out there and T. Higgins, who's got something to prove. Also, when you're lining up, dude, when you got a chance to line up 4 wide, hell, you could even go 5 wide, where every receiver is above 6'4". Oh my God.
Monsters. And the way Joe Burrow, like Andy, love Andy Dalton. On those big plays, those deep balls, he leaves meat on the bone. Like, he just didn't have that arm strength. And I think, hell, you could even see a good year from John Ross. We don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
But, you put him out there and let him run a fade where Joe Burrow can actually throw to him in stride and him not have to slow down.
Yep.
He could come back strong this year. Tyler Boyd, solid. T. Higgins, like you said, like, bro, we got some weapons.
We do. I mean, we got a squad that we can roll with. And again, I think it's a wild card team. I mean, we have a chance to get the AFC North, but realistically, completely being straightforward and honest, I think it could be a wild card team.
For sure, man. I mean, I just don't count on some of those perennial powers that we usually see being there.
No.
And this is a perfect chance. I mean, like I said, I think Zach Taylor sunk the shit last year, but crazy like a fox, he did it to get the number 1 pick. We had a decent offense. You have a better quarterback now. We were in a lot of just 7 or 8 games, you lose by a possession, and now you have a quarterback that should be able to make those throws and a defense that should be able to, make some stands.
That's right.
We should be in good position.
That's right. Well, Phipps, I know that I know you've actually got some stories to share, just with the relationships you've built with some Cincinnati athletes, and I know you got a ton of connections. We're actually. John's going to be on in a couple weeks here with actually a former Bengal, and we'll dive into that more later down the road. But let's hear some stories that you got around town with some of these players.
For sure, man. So I'm going to go with a weird story. The Bengals player only makes a brief instance in this story, but it's pretty awesome and random. So I went to UK, and I think it's Thanksgiving break. So my cousin's super Christian. He's like, let's go back home. We're going to the club and Over the Rhine. And I'm like, bro, this is back way before Over the Rhine was gentrified. And I'm like, okay, why are we doing this? This is a death sentence. He's like, nah, man, like my friend runs it. We'll be good to go. I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. At this time, I'm not 21, so they hit me with the black X on my hand at the door. And I'm like, fuck. But they didn't hit me with the dark black X. They hit me with the light one. Cool. Get in there, go downstairs, wash the X off my hands. I'll come back up. So I'm going to go with Kyle for the name of this kid. Kyle hands me some beers. He's like, bro, let's get it started. Just so you know, I'm going to get into a fight tonight. I'm like, huh? Like, that's not what I expected you to say, but I'm going to drink the beers you gave me because that's what you do when people give you beers. So, we're drinking, and I make my way into, like, the middle of the club. I'm kind of on the outskirts of the dance floor, and I get bumped, and I, like, kind of get pissed, and then I get bumped, and then I get bumped, and then I get bumped. And it turns out the dude's name is Kay Riley. He's a rapper. He had a song with Gucci Mane, 10, 11 years ago, and it's him. And he has this big chain on, and his whole entourage, they're like 20 deep. He makes his way up to the stage of the club, and he just starts performing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like, this is great. Like, you're 20 years old, you get a live performance, the club is fun. And while this is happening, my boy hands me another beer, and he starts yelling in my ear. Like, this girl's dancing on me. He's yelling in my ear. He's like, Phipps, I'm going to fight him. I see who I'm going to fight. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? And he's like, basically, his girlfriend's new boyfriend is there. He's like, I'm going to fight him. So I'm dancing, and I'm like, whatever. He said, I'm going to drink 2 beers, and I'm going to fight him. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm sitting there, the girl's dancing with me, and I look. And this man goes to the bar and buys 2 beers. And I'm like, oh, shit, he's for real. So, and, like, first beer up, you know, it's like a Bud Light glass bottle, takes it to the head. I'm like, oh, this is serious. So I get the girl's number, and I start moving. And I'm, like, trying to get there because he's already working on the second beer, and I guess whoever he wants to fight is nearing. So I'm like, shit, like, I gotta go. So I turn into a madman. And, like, I'm not the biggest guy, but I'm not a guy you want to fight. You know, like, if you go out and you pick somebody to punch, I'm not that guy. So I start moving people out the way, like, boom. You know, move somebody out the way, boom, push somebody to the right. And then there's a skinny alien-looking dude, and I mean, I pushed him right in his chest. And Buddy was strong, because he did not move. And I'm like, whoa, like, okay, you're strong. And I look up, and I'm like, Slim? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, bro, you're Chris Henry. My bad. You good? Like, no disrespect. Like, I was just trying to make him, and I'm like explaining myself quickly what's going on. And, I mean, you know, my bad, you're a legend. Like, he daps me up. I move Chris Henry out the way. I move forward. Well, Kyle finished his beer, and he just hauls off and punches this kid. And I'm like, shit. And then these big, like, first of all, I don't know if you know about the Samoan population in Cincinnati. I've never seen one. They're huge. I've just seen them on TV. Well, apparently they're real, and they live in Cincinnati. And apparently they were all security guards this night. So security blows this, like, referee whistle. They're blowing this whistle. They hop out of VIP. I mean, this was a wild night. And, like, these girls are doing some girls gone wild shit. He leaves the girls, jumps over and punches my boy in the back of the head.
Oh, my God.
Kyle drops, like, a wet bag of clothes. Like, I mean, to the floor. They throw Kyle into an alleyway. Didn't know there was an alleyway there. So I round everybody up. I'm like, hey, man, Kyle got beat up by security. It's time to go. Apparently, he's walking around the alley. He should be at the front in a second. And, you know, 5 minutes go by, no Kyle. 10 minutes go by, no Kyle. 15 minutes go by, and then you see somebody come around the corner. Their mouth is bloody. Like, he had on different clothes. Like, he had a hat. He no longer had on a hat. He had on a black shirt. He's in a white T-shirt that's, like, ripped. I'm like, bro, what happened? And he's like, man, they threw me in the alley, and I got jumped by 4 people in the alley. I'm like, shut the fuck up. So that was a rough night, and apparently I pushed Chris Henry. He's an awesome dude.
Hey, at least you had an interaction with Chris Henry.
You know, he was cool. We didn't fight. He got me up. I apologize. R.I.P. son, man.
Yeah, man.
I apologize.
Dude, you want to talk about an absolute stud on the field? It's a damn shame, dude. But
Slim was the man. He was the man, bro. Yeah. Like, he was a deep ball threat. He could get vertical. He could make that catch. I won't say those were the glory days, but those were good times.
Dude, those were good times, man. Back with Ocho and Hoosh, but man.
Ocho dancing,
and
gold teeth in.
It was before that 2015 travesty. And I gotta ask you, just because I'm asking everybody, but where were you when Jeremy Hill fumbled the football?
Yo, this brings up bad times. Clearly for all of us, I have PTSD. I was actually at home with my parents. We were watching it as like a family. I'm like, this is the year. Like, my dad's, you know, Cincinnati area. He's not the biggest Bengals fan. And I remember, like, kind of the plays leading up to this. He's like, hey, like, there's still time on the clock. You know, got to hold on to that ball and run it out. Like, things look good, but, you know, you got to hold on to the rock. And I think it's, first and 10. We're probably on, like, the 30.
Minute 36.
You know, yeah. Jesus. Like, they hand the ball off to Jeremy. He busted the hole. And, like, as he busted the hole, I'm like, bro, what are you, like, not lay down, but, like, pick up 3-4 yards, lay down. Like, you don't have to fight for yards or anything like that. And if you go back and watch, you know, they always say 2 hands on the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And crunch time. My man definitely had 1 hand on the ball, and he had 1 hand near the ball. And literally that separation was, you know.
I mean, it got ripped out of his hand. It's and then there you go. There goes our Super Bowl team, and dude, you told me to.
There was some plays after that that hurt.
Well, that's when.
32.
Yep, that's when I got into the debate with Stephen A. Smith on the radio about the Burfict hit because, dude, I'll tell you what, Burfict could have ended Antonio Brown's career if he wanted to. It wasn't intentional.
He hit him hard.
He
did.
did.
I don't think it was intentional, but he didn't want to kill him, if that makes sense. Like, I want to hurt you.
Of course.
But I don't want to kill you.
Yeah. I don't know.
But that's also partly the reason why Antonio Brown's out here acting crazy now is my man's brains have to be
because he just got all jumbled after that hit.
I mean, his took my man's done. I mean, it was a 3rd and 2. There was some long plays.
Yeah.
That play hurt. I mean, it all hurt. But yeah, man, I was with my parents. I was yelling. I was cussing. I was screaming. I couldn't believe it. I thought we had it.
I talked to somebody who was in the stadium, and they were just talking about how, like, man, this was like I've never been. They were like, I've never been in an atmosphere where you're so high at one point, and then within a matter of like a second, you're like just. You want to go to bed for the rest of the year, and you're like, damn.
I've had that feeling 2 times in my life. It was that night, and there was UK lost to UNC on, like, Luke May.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a 5th-year guy that just never did hit a shot. It's just like, bro, how? Like, we just played so well. We did everything right. There's no time left. And then it's all gone in an instant.
It's just one of those things where you're just like, damn, like – we could have had that team right there was debatably the next week we were getting Andy back after that thumb injury, and that team right there was just. I mean, McCarron came and performed. To me, if you ask me, McCarron beat the Steelers that day.
He did not lose that game.
No, he didn't.
Everybody else around him somehow ended up. And like, bro, that one hurt. And I don't want to bring up other bad times, but we should have beat those Texans those years. No. Like They were like quarterbacks by committee, like throw anybody out there and just let them throw the ball, and it worked. And then another reason I hate Phillip Rivers, we had the Chargers down one year, and I think Gio fumbles going into the end zone.
Gio, yeah, I do remember that. Speaking of a Gio fumble, that Shazier hit that he had on Gio was clearly helmet to helmet when he fumbled the football as well earlier in that game in 2015. And people are okay. The Shazier dilemma. Do you remember that hit by chance?
Bro, I have so many feelings on that. I'm going to let you go ahead first, and then I'll say my piece.
So, you got... I mean, when you think about Shazier, terrible situation. Horrible. Sure. You don't wish it on your worst enemy. Hopefully the guy's okay. But at the same time, my dude kind of leads with his head in every hit, and he gets away with it. And that is a prime example right there.
I get it. He's old school football. You know, they call it what? Biting the ball. So you're told kind of lead with your head, come in hard, put your helmet on the ball as hard as you can, and hopefully the ball pops out. Like, I get it. I understand that. But the reason he was, paralyzed for that little bit of time and has trouble walking to this day, it's him. Like, he did that to himself because he did that to players because he leads with his head. And when you're football, you get your head across the body. So this doesn't happen, and he did it to Gio, and I think they don't call a flag on it. Like
they didn't call no flag, not at all.
Like
no.
He put the crown of his helmet right on Gio's jaw, and the play he got injured, that ended his career is a very similar play. You're coming full speed, leading with your head. This is what happens.
Yeah, and then also is it It's Martavius Bryant. That was not the catch. It was he caught it in between his legs, bobbling the ball, and they called it a touchdown in the corner of the end zone. I can't even talk. I get so boiled about that whole entire that whole entire game. That
was a bad. I mean, it was probably a 2 minute, 3 minute. Like that's one of the worst bands of my life.
When you type in biggest letdown in the wild card game, that video pops up. Oh.
It hurts. Yeah. It hurts so bad.
Well, Phipps, thank you so much for coming on, man. I mean, we're obviously gonna have you back. I think you're coming back either week 4 or 5 coming up here. So,
man.
Man, thank you so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to getting that next time in and scheduled. So, thanks for coming on. You got any last words?
Yeah, man. I definitely appreciate you having me. Yeah. I love what you're doing, man. You have all my support. Next time I'm coming, I'll have more stories, and I'm coming with friends next time. I promise you.
That's right. We got some Bengals coming in. So
I got you.
Hey, thanks, John. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. I'll see you.
Bye. All right, folks. Week 2 of Anchor Down Cincinnati under the belt. Huge thank you to John Phipps. Funny guy, great dude. Can't wait to have him on in a couple of weeks. Super excited to announce who that Bengal is. And we also got another one in the works for week 6. But again, I do want to thank everybody for listening today. Another segment I do at the end of the show is supporting any local business that is out there. So I actually do have a few in mind, actually. The first one is Hatfield Logistics, which is a local, veteran-owned by Aaron Hatfield, an independent freight broker providing shipping and transportation services locally, regionally, nationally, whatever it is. Whether it's expedited freight and small shipments or a full truckload, Hatfield Logistics can meet you where you are. Forget the corporate shuffle and dishonest or frustrated business practices. Aaron will give you the honest feedback and advice, and you will always be able to reach him. Shop local and integrity first. Another one we have is with an OG of the show, Clint Kirsting with Triple Crown Wealth Management. And if you are ever looking for retirement guidance through this volatile market, reach out to Clint Kirsting at Triple Crown Wealth Management. You can reach him at CKERSTING at tc-wealth.com. Anyway, folks, you're going to be able to listen to this next Tuesday. I have another special guest. We got Tyler Dugan, a local Cincinnati sports blogger, a friend of mine from high school, and just an absolutely down-to-earth guy. I'm really excited to have him on and keep the ball rolling. I mean, we got a lot more to talk about here. Like I said, we got some special guests coming on, whether it's going to be a professional athlete or, hell, if it's just a fan. And if you are interested in coming on the show, let's say you're a Cleveland Brown fan, and I just called you out and you want to start dishing at me, feel free to come on. Visit my website at anchordowncincinnati.com. You can also reach me at anchordowncincy, that's CINCI, at gmail.com. Also, go follow the Facebook page, like it, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. This will be posted to YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. Finally figured out what's going on with Apple Music. It was just delayed, had to get approved, but everything's up and running now, so we're going to come out firing again next week. But thank you for anchoring down with me, Cincinnati. We'll see you again next week.